Thank you. Good morning,
Good morning.
everybody.
Good morning, everyone.
This is
Welcome to
such
ICHRRF,
this is such
our
special.
monthly Speaking Up series session. Those of you who are able to see this PowerPoint probably see our logo. On behalf of the Board of Directors and the executive team of the ICHRRF, I invite all of you for our monthly Speaking Up series oration. A little bit about International Commission for Human Rights and Religious Freedom. We are a US-based nonprofit organization focused on upholding human rights and religious freedom through continuous monitoring, policy intervention, and collaboration. The Commission is focused on educational, research, legal, and human rights advocacy and charitable purposes, and we strive to be an advocate for the human rights and religious freedoms of underrepresented communities across the world. We believe that humankind can no longer afford to be selectively vocal about the rights of only a specific set of people. A humane and just world necessitates fair treatment of all living beings. Therefore, our focus is on indigenous rights and freedom, free speech, and their cultural preservation. Some of our initiatives include monitoring violations of the freedoms and sanctity of religious and philosophical minorities across the world, research into documentation of the cultures, history, challenges faced by such communities, policy recommendations on human rights, religious diversity, and pluralism to international organizations, agencies, national and local governments, collaboration to support the cultural and philosophical diversity across the world, Professor Ved P. Nanda Memorial Fellowship Training Program since January 1st, 2022, an annual meeting in Washington, D.C. area for the last 2 years, and also the Commission publishes books. We have published a couple of books on special hearings, and we are in the process of publishing other books. Today's lecture is given by Moses Jesus Hernandez. The topic is sustainable environment and human rights. And just to be on the record, it is Sunday, November 17, 2024. It is approximately 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Moses Jesus Hernandez is a proud Mayan Lenca from the heart of Central America. He is from Honduras. He was born and raised in the lush tropical forests of the region. For almost 2 decades ago, he moved to New York City, and his unique experiences, lived experiences, living in both city and the forest, have given him a profound understanding of both environments and how they interact. He will be talking about sustainable environment and its relationship to human rights, especially for indigenous communities. And his talk will be followed by a question and answer session. You will be seeing Moses live, but this is a picture of him. Couple of housekeeping rules. Please mute yourself to avoid noise interference. Please change your cell phone setting to vibration mode. Please do not interrupt our distinguished speaker. All the questions will be taken after the distinguished speaker is done with the lecture. All the questions have to be sent by the chat room. Please be precise and brief in your questions. Only those members of the audience who identify themselves on the video camera will be allowed to ask questions. No anonymous questions, please. This event is being recorded and it will be available on our YouTube channel as well as on our website later on. Without further ado, it is my honor and pleasure to invite Moses Jesus Hernandez to deliver his lecture. Once he has finished his lecture, our Executive Director, Mr. Carl Clemens, will be moderating the question and answer session. So over to you, sir, Moses Hernandez. The platform is yours. You can start.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much, Dr. Adichanji and Carl and Alicia for putting this together. Um, First of all, I want to really thanks to our ancestors, the ancestors of this land, or every ancestor or everyone. Welcome everyone to this um, conference. It's a such honor to be sharing um, the sustainable environment and human rights. Um, I'm sharing about how I feel, what we can do together. How can we approach um, some issues? I want to start with the this article from the Human Rights Code that say every person has a duty to toward to the community and to protect the right and 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 the freedom of others. See, only it can be freely and fully developed for the personality. It's essential for the human development and the human balance and well-being, the community. And there is no right without responsibility. So the first thing we had to approach is our responsibility, our duty, how we handle our own life. And in this sense, is it about really doing what meant to be, living in the purpose of life. That is really connected with nature. Our responsibility is to really interact in harmony with nature. Um, Next slide, please. So I like to ask the question, what is Earth? To understand ourselves, really, what is the Earth? So our well-being depends on the health of the Earth, of the environment. A healthy soil is a healthy human, and the human comes from the humus, that is the living part of the Earth. It's the surface that is alive, the microbiota of the Earth. That is why we are the Earth. So, in order to live in balance, in harmony, we had to take care of the Earth. That means the first thing we need to respect is the integrity of the health of the Earth in order to have uh, well-being, in order to be in balance in health. So that's why it's so important to take the conscious about how we are interacting with the earth. For example, when we interact about the in the agriculture, so putting those chemicals, those pesticides, all the package about the conventional agriculture, that is really the violation of the earth, of the integrity, and that we cannot really um, ask for rights if we don't respect the very, very basic things. That is the integrity of the earth. Can I have the next, please? And then, what is water? That's a very interesting question because there is a very common saying uh, that water is life. With water, everything; without it, anything. Um, According with the sacred books and traditions, the life is begin in the water. So that is why it's so important to take care of the water. Is the element, the second element, the basic element is water. Water contains the consciousness. Water is essential for, it's a vital. Um, the earth has like 70% of water in the body, and that's essential. How can we protect the waters? The water is a consciousness. So when we think about the water, we really interact, creating some modifying. So in reality, water is not the contamination. Water is clean. What is contaminated is our mind. So if we want to have balance and well-being, we need to take care of the water. In the conventional way of living, there is no really respect for the water. All these chemical, all the waste is put on the water, and that really, when I think about human rights, how can we ask for human right when we don't respect the very basic thing that is the component of this body? The body represents the material, the earth, the water, the element, the fire, the air. So understanding about the water that is in us, within us, and the earth, if we start taking responsibility about how we interact with the elements, then we start really taking care of our body. Taking care of our body, we start understanding ourselves, and then connecting with the purpose. And that purpose is a responsibility. Is it about being responsible with our duty? And our responsibility in this plane is to be in harmony, is to live good, is to fulfill our life. That's the purpose. Everything is already uh, giving. When we came to the earth, there was already the place that fulfill, that we can express fully. So this is a call that we can start taking back the power about who we are and what is our responsibility. It is really beautiful when we start taking responsibility. For example, when we take care of the water, when we plant a tree, when we take care of the earth, when we eat healthy, when we make a conscious choices, then we are feeling something inside that is really powerful because you feel like a reason, you feel purpose, you feel exciting about being with this body, being in this place, whatever place we are, is just has everything we need to fulfill and to live well. Can I have the next slide, please? Yeah, with you, everything; without you, anything, nothing. So let's be conscious about how we interact with the water. Um, we really need to make a changes, and the changes is very easy. It's very um, it's really not um difficult to reach. Actually, it's so simple. Sometimes things are so simple that once so simple that it's even hard to see it. Can I have the next slide, please? Um, what is Earth? That is another question. The understanding about Earth. Well, a lot of things even we don't have to understand. In reality, life is about feeling and expressing. Once we connect with life, we are really in the state of beauty or wonder, because this is what it is about. This is really wonderful place. If we start really feeling and like getting into that, this is really wonderful. The earth is the beginning of life, is the breath of life. Um, I like very specific exercise for that, and I will invite everyone um, to really feel and think about this question: what is Earth? And it is important about Earth. So for that, I want to challenge you to take a 1 minute without breathing. So let's do this exercise, and after that, we can understand a little more about what is Earth. So just take a minute, hold your breath for 1 minute. Oh, that was good. Um, Well, I I feel that the earth is so important, and that's why I really like to think and to feel and to do things that help to protect the earth. I really enjoy planting trees. Um, I also like to help to keep the forest, and it's part of what I'm doing is trying to find policies that are strong to protect nature. Because in my experience, um, when you go to the place that the air is fresh, the water is clean, the soil is healthy, and it's really amazing to feel the environment is really what make us to feel safe, to feel good. Our well-being depends on the environment, and it's the opposite way if we go to a place that there is fight, like war. There's people fighting, shooting each other. The factories, the smoky, the garbage all around, and also like you don't feel safe because people can take your money, and you don't feel safe because there is no a job that you getting a pay. There's no food, no healthy food. So all these things is really what matters in life. Family broken, neighbor fighting each other, all of that. That is not safe. And what is the experience of that? It's really tough. It's really difficult. And it's exactly what we are approaching here. It's about how can we together come with strategies, policies that we can join all the force, all the resource, all everything we have in our hands to change that environment. And that's a proof that we can unite as race, we can heal. There's proof that there the place that wasn't tree, we can plant trees and the forest can come back. The spring that dried out because there was the forest cut it down and all of that, that can start running again. The trees that there the bird used to be, that is not anymore. We can just plant trees and the bird will come. So the environment about um like visualizing and also creating, co-creating together. It is about where nature is in balance, where the water, the spring is clean, the forest is pristine, and the singing of the birds, of the cicade, of the crickets, the symphony of nature. And what about when we care about each other and very, very deep way on the understanding that we are not separate, that we are one, and my well-being depends on yours. Then I start acting responsible. Then I start helping my neighbor. Then I start respecting another way of perceptions. Because this is not about having the whole one perception. This is about how can we respect each other? How can we coexist How can we, even though we are for different background, have different beliefs and different system, how can we come together and make it work in harmony? Because that's the beauty and the same time. Nothing is the same. The whole biodiversity is to make that things beauty and to be in harmony. Is really coexisting in harmony. It's not about anything about dependence or, or independent. It is about interdependence, interconnectedness, that we understand and perceive ourselves, that we are part of, not just from this body that we perceive, but we are beyond, because we have this body. This is the material that belongs to the earth, the humus, that is the human, and that has a right to be in integrity. But at the same time, we have the spirit that we belong to the whole cosmic. So how can we get into that dance? And that dance is the cosmic dance. That means we are not like rigid. We are not fighting. We are dancing. And that dance comes, is an art of living. Once we are in the dance, we are not fighting anymore. My approach for human rights also is like, that's my own approach. Is like, I don't need to fight. I don't even need to really go for fighting about human rights, because once we understand that just when we start fighting for our right, that means we don't have the right. So the call will be, is about, let's take back our power, and that take our responsibility, because that is exactly when, if we want to fight something, it's about taking responsibility, because without responsibility is not a right. Without responsibility is not freedom. Freedom comes with responsibility. and and that's really not difficult to do, because um taking responsibility actually is beautiful, because it's what make really get ourselves in the purpose of life. Once we feel connected with the purpose of life, life is so meaningful, because it's so much beauty on this world, and there's so much things to do that is exciting, because this is co-creation. Co-creating together is powerful and it's beautiful. What is fire? Uh, this is fire. This is very interesting element. I've personally, I've for me, fire is our passion inside that make us to do things. It's like the fuel that we have in our inner self being, that make us really think beyond, to have the vision, to start creating things, to make the things with passion, that fire. And at the same time, fire, it is about, if we cannot, fire is a very delicate thing. If we don't know how to take care of the fire burn. And why we are experiencing experiencing so much disease, our body failing, all this disease that exists is because the fire inside is burning ourselves, because we are not connected with the flow of creation. When we start in the connecting with the purpose of life and the creation, taking the responsibility, the fire get a shape of creation. Once we don't take responsibility, the fire burn ourselves, and that expressed through pain, different disease, different because it's failing. And also fire is is the way how our communities they gather together in the circle, understanding for sharing and understanding that everybody in the community is important. Understanding that in the circle there is no such like a person who was a leader, but is everybody has a voice. So it's a way that we can start practicing being with the fire and understanding and connecting each other, that we had a voice and that we had to be heard, had to be recognized. Because what is human right? We can really go fighting, but if I cannot recognize, first of all, myself, who I am, and if I don't value myself, I won't value others. So recognizing is a beautiful, really things to do, is to see somebody, to recognize and to value. I think that's really what we need to do in this society. Is about really value ourselves in order to value others. Because the opposite is when once I don't value myself, I won't value the others. And then I will start um, really not being in harmony with others. Once I am not in harmony with others, then I am not respecting. And that will create more chaos, because once we don't respect each other, and then start life start coming very like difficult. So it's better to start like really recognizing, to see each other, and to see that we are here to share. We are here to learn, to share, and to be, to create, and to express. So everybody has a unique gift, and that we had to start recognizing that gift and start living from that. Living, because once we start living, that's the best giving we can give to humanity, is to give our best expression of ourselves. Um, the next, please. Nature. Nature reflects our state of consciousness. Yes, the earth is a body, it's a living body. And in our tradition, for us, is the earth is our mother. And we had to take care of the earth. because that's the environment and that is ourselves. So what show the picture over here is about a forest being slashed down and burned out. And the people who are doing this, they are looking for well-being. They are looking for feeling good to approach economic well-being. But this is something that we know that is not sustainable. And that exactly is what we are here together, is to recognize that this approach is not sustainable, and also recognize that we have the power to change, and the power to change that is really big, because we can really change a whole round, um, from being this forest that is already gone, we can bring back. And that is something that we have proved, because in our experience, we have been planting trees, and some trees has already 35 years, and it's a whole forest again. And that is really a proof that we can reverse. And we don't have to be really worried about all things that is going on. It's not about being worried. It's about getting into our responsibility, understanding that we can make a change. Together, we are powerful. We can make a change. We can bring nature back. We can create the community. We can bring restore our body. We can feel all these missing part in life are sometimes it's tough, because just the state where we are, how we are perceiving, how has been done, it can be tough. It's not about denying what is there, but it's really recognizing the power that we have, and the change, and also the opportunity to create, to co-create. This is really an exciting time. Eh, I feel very grateful to have this body, and also to be around the people that I am, and and to know that we have something in common, and that is very powerful. It's about we are we are looking for feeling good, and these people who are cutting the forest, they are looking for the same thing. Even for the people who are meditating, who are uh, in this wellness life, they are looking for feeling good to approach well-being. And the people who are in war, who are slashing down the forests, polluting the nature, they are doing the same, for the same thing, for feeling good. So there is something we can do together. It's about really putting the information, putting a lot of education about uh, the the most accurate approach, because obviously this kind of approach about cutting the destroying nature is no um and the right way to approach well-being is the opposite. So that means a lot of effort has to be done, a lot of education, uh, because people do these things because they don't have any other way. So what is needed to be done is to show that there is different ways to express ourselves. Can I have the other one?
Yep. Um, Moses, there's another question. So you got the question about the Mayan people, the Mayan human rights, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. You had mentioned in your talk that you said the solution is so simple that sometimes it is hard to see it. I was kind of struck by that line. Can you say a little bit more about that?
Right. Thank you for asking, Carl. Um, yeah, the solution is very simple. Um, and this way of how we are living is so complex and complicated. But life is very simple. Once we are start understanding that what's what I what is essential for life. In my own experience, I like to speak about my own experience. For me, the essential is about a community, a strong community, um, fresh, clean, living water that is has to come from the spring and from the pristine forest, and the earth has to be clean. So that means no pollution, and so that is what's offered the nature when you are in the nature, when we take care of the environment, when we take responsibility. Taking responsibility is no hard. It's really easy. It is taking responsibility is about really start getting into what make us feel fulfilled according with the love of creation that is about living in harmony with nature and with the whole ecosystem. So it's simple. This is just a way of perception. We can start from now where we are, wherever we are, we can start like feeling that simplicity, and that simplicity make also like the profound understanding and about who we are. Hmm.
Okay, the next question I was sent was, so our relationship with animals has changed drastically in the last 100 years, say as a mode of transport, or if we get our milk directly from animals. And now there's a big distance between us and animals, other than some people owning dogs as pets. How important do you think that has been in shaping the way we relate to our environment, and what can be done to bridge that gap in some way, practically speaking?
Yeah. In our perception, the animal kingdom is such beautiful alive for helping us to live in such way that they bring so much enjoyment and so much beautiful company, so much all this wealth. Um, I think it's just a way to learn how to interact with nature, observing the whole environment and coexisting. Yeah, that's true that the society has been really going so far away to approach on economic. For example, the forest has been is still being slashed down for cattle ranch because the milk and the meat. And I don't have anything against the cows and the milk. I think that what is really damaging is about the being so hungry about power and also being so disconnected with the balance of the ecosystem. I think, for example, so the people who has 1,000 cows maybe just have 10, and there's a system that can be, for example, it's called silvopastoral system that is so friendly for those people who really enjoy as part of the culture to have the cows, so they can still keeping the cows but in balance. really and very love numbers, and that will be, you know, whole change that will come with that. But I have also experienced, and I know people who they had 1,000 cows and they want 2,000 more, and they slash down the last acre of forest just to have another one. So that is not really fulfill. Uh, this is emptiness that never can be fulfilled. So what is has to really count is about really being conscious about the environment, who we are, our responsibility, and how the animals, they are really beautiful. They When you observe, when you connect with the spirit of the animal, the spirit of the horse or the dog or the cat or the cows, and the whole, and wild animals, they are really what make this place so beautiful. So thank you.
There's another question from Carlos. Thank you,
Mhm.
Moses. What brings you hope in these challenging times? What are some developments or trends that you are seeing that give you hope?
Um, Very good question. Thank you, Carlos. For me, the hope is kind of beyond of the really concept about hope. This is about this hope that I have is like a trust. The trust that the changes are real, and there's changes that we cannot stop. But this trust to trust the unknown, that we going to be, and that we are going every time we are going to for being more in alignment with the creation. The hope that I have, the trust that is because I have seen, like I have been seeing the both sides. I've been witnessing the pristine forest, the nature in balance harmony. I have been seeing also the nature being slashed down, destroyed totally, and I have been seeing also the nature restored through our actions. So that make me really a big hope. And also I see the awakening of human consciousness, the willingness to get together and to do something. That give me a lot of hope also. I see the children uh, coming with really new whole consciousness, and they are really connected with that. So that make me really feel so hopeful. Thank you.
In the same vein, there's another question. There's a trend in, at least here in the United States, of homesteading, where people either create their own self-sufficient homestead or they form part of a truly rural community while working remotely in their regular jobs. Do you think that is the right way to go, or do you think it's just a fad that doesn't really make a difference?
Thank you. Very interesting question. Yeah. Uh, there's for how I see it personally. I see the cities. Like we cannot just go from the city all the people to the nature, because that will be even more hard for nature. So in order to do that, this has to be a transition and has to be smooth. So what we are looking for is to how can we bridge the nature, the forest with the city. So that means a lot of things has to be done, like a lot of education, a lot of raising the consciousness about the interaction of nature, and also about recognizing that everything is valuable. Now we recognize the city is valuable, the forest, the people on the countryside, the people who are building community. And yes, that is something has to be done. It's about understanding the bioconstruction, for example, that we don't need to really go with all this extraction, but we can build our home that is sustainable through the concept of bioconstruction, that is local and natural material, and also start uh, co-creating with the community. So that means the community get together and build the house. Um, and that can be sustainable. There's proof our ancestors did, and I am myself coming from people who were living in that way, and we have proof everywhere. Is so much proof that we can be sustainable in all sense, and sustainable about the environment, about our human, uh, about the whole ecosystem. For example, a lot of things in order to make this transition has to be about like sustainable business. How can we bring the products that are without processing to the city, and how can put value in that and bring support to the community. And so because our sustainability depend on our well-being, and that well-being depend on how the body, what we are eating, for example. That's a lot about conscious eating. How can we start understanding what we are eating, where the food is coming from, and also about economic. How can we be conscious about where we are putting every dollar? If we start being responsible with that, that make us really a smooth transition. Yeah, and I see also like um that will come a huge development about eco village all around the world, and people will start really connecting each other and support each other and living in harmony. And there's so much the earth is so much um it's so rich that nobody should be poor or in misery or scarcity. It's just about really sharing and changing, but we had to really share and change the consciousness in order for example, it's about changing the perception. Then we share the consciousness, and when once we change the consciousness, that we are in another dimension about well-being. Yeah.
The last question that I have on my list is, I guess this is a kind of a political question, but there's a change of administration that's happening in the U.S. There's a lot of focus on people like RFK Jr., who are considered radical, in the sense that they've put the spotlight on huge government institutions and sections of the private industry, like, for instance, the Department of Health, the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, and also the pharmaceutical industry. And they advocate things that are sort of a little controversial. They're questioning vaccines, psychiatric drugs. They're talking about things like raw milk and things like that. Do you think this is going to be a productive discussion to have in America in terms of the macro administrative, the direction that the administration takes, or do you think this won't have a desired effect, or maybe it's misdirected or not scientific enough? It's facing a lot of criticism as well. Would you like to share your thoughts about it?
Thank you. Very complicated, first of all, the question. And um, I will say that there will be a lot. We cannot deny the failing part of humanity. There's a lot uh, part of the humanity will fail because this system is just based on that. The system we have now running the world is a system based on extraction, and extraction is destruction. It's a power and control, and but the other part of the humanity is waking up, taking the power back, and about all this. Once we understand, we wake up and understand that nature has all the answers that we need for our well-being. So that means, in nature we find our medicine, and in the forest we find uh, the material for construction. In our nature we find our recreational spaces. In nature we find all the economic, because really it's the system they call resources, and that's from nature. um we call generosity of nature, and that changed the perception, because generosity is about being generous. So that means we had to uh, understand how much I need to take from nature, and I had to give back. So that is a balance, very equitative balance. um, of course, the system, the government, the administration, they are really hungry about power and control, and how can we not be affected with that? So that depends on our how can we play, because in the end, this life is a game. So we cannot be against them, even though we cannot be also agree with them. So we becoming like a neutral. So because always is the right and left. When you are on the right and left, you have to, like, you are in the position of fighting. If you get in the middle, if we get in the middle, then we are in the state of being in balance, being in harmony, being in peace. And from that space of being in peace and balance and calm and love, we can really design our future. So I feel a lot of hope, even though there's a lot of things going on. I know that, like a humanity through history, we haven't been understand about um, or learning about these situations. We really need to learn about situation. Anything we are experiencing is a teaching. Once we learn, it's great. So um, the call is about really taking responsibilities. It's about, okay, uh, what is my role now in this time? Yeah.
Thank you very much, Moses. I don't have any further questions, so I'll just make a couple of closing comments. I want to thank all the guests for taking time out on this Sunday morning and joining us. I want to thank the speaker, Moses Hernandez, and that last slide that says that nature reflects our state of consciousness uh, throughout. His talk, with every answer, Moses has focused on that aspect, on our value system and our sense of the sacred, and how that translates to our relationship with the environment. So we at ICHRRF really appreciate that. We would like to work with Moses in future to have more such talks, and also to write reports or papers on the same issue, because it directly deals with human rights, the rights of nature also as persons, the rivers and the forests, and how we can then formulate policy recommendations based on these macro suggestions that Moses has presented us. So thank you once again, Moses, and we welcome you back to ICHRRF. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carl. It was a pleasure. Thank you for the amazing work. I see it's really amazing. That gave me more hope. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Blessing. See you.